I live alone in a small one-bedroom apartment just outside of town. Nothing fancy, just a quiet place to rest my head after work. That night, I got home late, around 11 p.m., after covering for a co-worker's night shift. I was exhausted, drained, and all I wanted was a hot shower and sleep. The hallway in my apartment is narrow, with 3 doors, bathroom on the left, bedroom at the end, and a small storage room I barely use. I tossed my keys onto the counter, slipped off my shoes, and headed to the bathroom. As I walked down the hallway, something strange happened. I heard a soft, deliberate tap behind me. Tap, tap, tap. I froze. I knew I was alone. I had locked the door behind me. Slowly, I turned around. Nothing. Just the hallway behind me, quiet and dimly lit. I shook it off. Maybe the wood creaked. Maybe my tired brain was playing games. I went into the bathroom, turned on the water, and stepped into the shower. About 5 minutes in, I heard it again, this time louder. Tap, tap, tap. That day, a low dragging sound, like someone pulling something heavy across the floor. I held my breath. The water kept running. I listened, heart pounding. Then I heard it. Jacob! A whisper from just outside the bathroom door. I turned off the shower. The silence that followed was suffocating. I stood there wet and shaking, listening. Nothing. I opened the bathroom door slowly. The hallway light was still on, but the apartment felt off. The air was heavier, like the pressure had dropped. I stepped out, towel around my waist. The hallway was empty. I tiptoed toward my room, and that's when I noticed the storage room door was open. I never opened that door. I keep old books, tools, boxes, nothing worth using. But now, it was open about 3 inches. Hello? I called out, my voice cracking. Who's there? No response. I reached for the door handle with a shaky hand. Just as I touched it, slam. The door shut in my face with violent force. I jumped back screaming. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed the biggest knife I had, and called 911. The operator picked up, and I told her I thought someone had broken into my apartment. She told me to stay on the line and wait for officers to arrive. And then, while I was still on the phone, the hallway light flickered out. I stared into the black tunnel that led to my bedroom. Something moved at the end of it, a shape. Tall, black, and slightly hunched, like a shadow that didn't belong to anything. I backed into a corner, holding the knife up. My breath was ragged, shallow. The thing moved closer, but it didn't make a sound. No footsteps, no breathing, just presence. Then the lights came back on. The hallway was empty. Nothing there. Police arrived minutes later. They checked the apartment top to bottom. No signs of forced entry, nothing stolen, no one hiding anywhere. But here's what got me. One of the officers pointed at the storage room door and said, "Is that mold?" I looked closer. There was black handprints smeared on the inside of the door. I haven't slept properly since. It was a Saturday night, and I had the house to myself. My wife had taken the kids to visit her parents 2 towns over. I was looking forward to a peaceful evening. Just me, a few beers, and a horror movie marathon. Around 1:30 a.m., I was halfway through my 3rd movie when I heard my phone buzz. It was a notification from my home security camera app. Motion detected in the driveway. I tapped it open, assuming it was maybe a cat or a raccoon. But what I saw chilled my blood. There was a man standing at the edge of the driveway, still, staring straight at the house. He was wearing a dark hoodie with the hood up, and I couldn't see his face clearly. He didn't move. I watched the live feed for almost 2 minutes. Still, he didn't move. Then slowly, he started walking toward the front door. I jumped up, turned off the TV, and checked the door. It was locked. I checked all the windows, everything locked. I returned to my phone. He was gone. I switched to the front porch camera. He was standing right at the door, inches away. Just standing, not knocking, not ringing the bell, just standing. I was about to call the police when the doorbell rang 3 times. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Then silence. I called 911 and whispered what was happening. The dispatcher told me to stay calm, stay quiet, and wait. While I was on the call, I heard something outside the window behind me, a scratch. I turned slowly. I couldn't see anything. And then the front doorbell rang again, once. But this time when I checked the camera, there was no one there. That's when I heard it, the back door handle jiggling. I crept through the kitchen, clutching a heavy flashlight, and saw the door handle turning slowly. Someone was testing it. I yelled, "Get out of here, the police are coming!" Whoever it was, they stopped, dead silence. Then I heard footsteps around the side of the house. Sirens in the distance. Relief flooded me. By the time the cops arrived, the man was gone. No sign of forced entry. Just muddy footprints, one set, circling the house. The weird part? The officers said the prints disappeared halfway down the driveway, just stopped, as if the man vanished into thin air. I checked the security footage again with one of the officers. The man's face was never visible. His movements were strange, like he was walking on a delay, almost glitchy. The officer said, "This doesn't look like a normal person." I've since installed extra locks, motion lights, and cameras everywhere. But sometimes, late at night, I still get the notifications. Motion detected in driveway. And the man is there, just standing, watching. I grew up in a quiet suburb, the kind of place where nothing exciting ever really happens. A few years back, after my dad passed away, I moved back into the old family home to sort things out, pack his stuff, and decide whether to sell the place or not. The house is 2 stories, with creaky wooden floors, old wallpaper, and a narrow staircase that groans under every step. I hadn't been back there in years, and the first few nights alone were uncomfortable, to say the least. But one night, something changed. It started with a creak. I was in the living room downstairs around midnight going through photo albums when I heard it. A loud floorboard creak directly above me in my old bedroom. I froze. That room was supposed to be empty. I hadn't gone up there in days. I stood up and listened. Then I heard it again, footsteps, slow and heavy, moving across the bedroom floor. I stared at the ceiling. Each step felt like it was pressing down on my chest. I wasn't sure if I was imagining things, but the sound was real. Then I heard something even worse, a voice. Not clear, not loud, more like a whisper, but it was coming through the vent above me. A woman's voice. "Anderson." My blood ran cold. I grabbed the fireplace poker, the only thing near me that could work as a weapon, and crept toward the stairs. Every step I took up that narrow staircase felt like walking into a grave. The door to my room was slightly open. It was dark, too dark. I pushed it open with the poker, nothing, empty. But the closet door was wide open. I hadn't touched it. I walked over slowly, step by step. I couldn't hear anything anymore, just the sound of my own breathing. I pulled the closet door wider and looked inside. Just my dad's old boxes, some dusty coats, nothing human. But as I turned to walk away, I heard something behind me. A breath, right at the back of my neck. I spun around, swinging the poker wildly. Nothing. But the air was freezing. My room had turned ice cold in a matter of seconds. I ran back downstairs, slammed the bedroom door shut behind me, and locked it from the outside. I stayed downstairs the rest of the night, trying to convince myself it was all in my head. But around 3:17 a.m., I heard something again. Not footsteps this time. Laughter from upstairs. A soft, cruel giggle. Like a child, but twisted. I didn't sleep at all. First thing in the morning, I called a friend who was into paranormal stuff. He came over with some gear, EVP recorders, a camera, all that. We went up together, and he asked, "Is this the room?" I nodded. He placed a recorder on the closet shelf and let it run for 10 minutes while we stood silently in the hallway. Then we played it back. The first 3 minutes were quiet. Then the static picked up. Then came the voice. "You left me here." I nearly dropped the recorder. It wasn't my dad's voice. It wasn't my voice, and it wasn't my friend's. It sounded like a woman, broken, sad, angry. My friend looked at me and said, "Anderson, you need to leave this house, now." I didn't argue. I packed my bags, left that day, and never went back. I put the house on the market and it sold fast. I never told the new owners about what happened. But sometimes I wonder if they hear the whispers too. If the woman is still in that room, waiting for someone to open the closet. And if I left her behind, or if she followed me,